Hi, and welcome back to Thone's James Nibbles number 38. Beware of Personal Favoritism, Part 3 of 7. Sins in Partiality. This again comes from James chapter 2, verses 1 through 13. The problem with judgment from appearance. Well, why is this in the Bible? To guide us in understanding today. We have to understand today. Communications judge people as they are, not as they were. And that's another important thing we're going to talk about. Application to me. It is very human to judge people by their past actions. We are not to do this. For example, the apostles were afraid of Saul of Tarsus because of his reputation for persecution of early church members. Had Barnabas not believed that he was changed, think of how different our understanding of the gospel would be. Think about that. How many of the important explanations in the letters come from Paul, that we understand what those parables meant that Jesus taught, the general theology that he taught, the explanation of how that applies here and doesn't apply there, and so on. If we hadn't had Paul writing, and he may have still written, but the likelihood of his epistles being saved and available to us would be much, much lower. But because Barnabas knew that Saul had been bad before to the God's people, but he wasn't being now, he introduced him to Peter and some of the other church leaders. And from that, we get the richness of this dichotomy of stories. It's interesting. I mean, we have the Jewish story, which we think about as Peter's story and John's story, and then we have the Gentile story, which we think about as being almost exclusively Paul's story. And the beauty in tying those together, showing that we're all the same in God's eyes, is one of the great things that we read in the Bible. And I just can't say it enough that this is important. In addition, Wiersbe comments, when visitors come into our churches, we tend to judge them on what we see outwardly rather than what they are inwardly. Dress, color of skin, fashion, and other superficial characteristics carry more weight than the fruit of the Spirit that may be manifest in their lives. And it's so sad to see this happen occasionally. In certain congregations where, it's all about who you are and who I think you are and so on, rather than who you really are and why. God leads us with rumors are not always true. And so we have to treat each and every person as if there's not a rumor about them. We can establish eventually our own opinion as to whether something is likely true or not. But in the initial greeting and the initial contact with that person, we have to be absolutely unprejudiced, or else we're going to come off as a hypocrite. My response: Lord, thank you for showing us the importance of judging the present and the future, not the past. Wow. And that's, there's so many cases. How many pastors have come from very questionable backgrounds and have become great pastors simply because they knew the evil of sin, because they had committed it themselves in one way or another. How many great authors of commentaries and books, we don't even know the history of most of those people. We know that they eventually got their PhD from some prestigious seminary and began writing, but we'd have no idea what their backstory is at all, and yet we believe them. Why not? It's judged by the present and the future. If the person is doing the right thing now, and it appears that they're going to be doing the right thing in the future, then forget the past. Forget the past. Talk to you next time.